Dear students, very good morning. As you all know, biology continues. Okay. We have already completed chapter number 6. Understood? Where we studied about various types of life processes. In chapter number 6, we studied about nutrition. Understood? In unicellular and multicellular organism. At the same time, we studied about the process of respiration, human respiratory system, understand, and the process mechanism of breathing that we studied. Then we studied about the process of transportation and translocation in plants. And we also studied at the same time the blood circulation in our body. Similarly, we also studied about excretion, as you all know. Understand? Now, in lecture number 7, understand that is control and coordination. In this particular chapter, today I welcome you in lecture number 1. Name itself, control and coordination, very important word, and today lecture number 1 in that. First, in this particular chapter, we are going to change order of the topic a little bit than given in the textbook itself. We are going to discuss about control and coordination. Okay? So the very first thing which you need to understand, what is actually this process means to us. Understand, you all know that every activity occurring in our body are controlled and coordinated. Sometime a question may arise, how they are controlled and coordinated. The coordinated word, let us try to understand. Suppose you have taken part in some elocution competition, and when you are on the stage, how many things you are doing at the same time? You are speaking the topic you have memorized, and while you speak the topic, means you are speaking that topic, you are also reckoning your memory. Understand? At the same time, you are visualizing the public in front of you. You are visualizing the reaction of the public in front of you. You are at the same time also trying to hear response either in form of clapping or whatever from the public. Understand? So many activity you are doing together. It's not like that you started speaking, you stop memorizing or you stop hearing. All activities are actually controlled and coordinated. At the same time you start thinking. When you are eating, generally we say that don't speak during eating, but we are. Suppose in hotel somewhere we have gone with friends, so we are at the same time eating, talking, thinking, hearing, so many activities you are doing together. But all these activity are controlled. Understand? Suppose a thief is running and police is behind the thief. So while the thief is running because he want to escape from policeman, so while he is running, he is doing already one activity, that muscular movement, but at the same time he is thinking also, okay, where to go, where to hide, means two activities are occurring at a time. So all activities are controlled and coordinated. How can it happen? Do activity also occur in controlled manner? Definitely. Why not? Understand? Take an example. Suppose you have gone to attend some musical concert or musical program, and person is some singing a melodious song, and you want to just discuss something with your friend beside you, what you do? Will you shout? No, you will never shout at that time. You will just whisper in his ear so that other does not get disturbed. Who is telling you to whisper only and not speak aloud? So that is also one type of controlled activity. In the classroom, when sir is teaching and you want to communicate with other student, what you do? You just speak so slowly that even sir can't catch that you are speaking. So that is a controlled activity. Understand? So every activity happening, so many activity in your body, and you are performing so many actions at the same time, all are occurring simultaneously, but all are at the same time controlled and coordinated. So this is very, very important, that all actions are even occurring at one time, they needs to be controlled and coordinated. We have seen a film Dangal, where you have seen the last climax scene, where actually two wrestlers, when they are fighting with each other, wrestling with each other at the same time, they are thinking also. Understand? And they are speaking aloud also at the same time. They are shouting also at the same time. So many activities, so many actions are controlled at the same time. So there you particularly require a mechanism for this. You require a mechanism, understand, to control and coordinate all this activity. And for that purpose, animals, as you have also studied in previous standard, animals have got central nervous system and peripheral nervous system made up of brain, spinal cord and nerves throughout our body. In unicellular or some simple multicellular, then complex multicellular, complicated complex multicellular, all have got different nervous system. Like we vertebrates have got brain, central nervous system, spinal cord, nerves, etc. So some lower class organism also control and coordinated all this activity by some different means. Understand? But all activity occurs in controlled and coordinated manner in our body, and that happens due to the presence of nervous system in animals. At the same time, my dear student, you should mark one thing, only nervous system is not sufficient. Okay? Suppose we just write about animals. Suppose we think about control and coordination in animal, so simply nervous system is only not sufficient. Understand? No doubt we have all activity which can be controlled by nervous system, but at the same time, let me write here, nervous system, central nervous system and peripheral nervous system, that is all a part of this, but at the same time we also control and coordinate some activity with the help of hormones that you all know. Various hormone control various activities in our body. Okay? So, nervous system and hormones are actually sufficient for controlling and coordinating all activities in animals. Understand? But at the same time, if you start thinking of plants, understand, suppose, and I want to change the order of the topic today for this only. Suppose if you start thinking in plants, the plants do not have got a nervous system like us. The plant actually plant also control, understand and coordinate all activity by hormones, which are also known as sometime phytohormones in plants. Understand? Actually hormones can be considered as chemical messengers, you can say. Chemical messengers. Okay, so plant do not have got a nervous system exactly like us. Then also they can communicate, they can respond to external factor. We respond to external, and today we are first, though in textbook they have started the discussion by control and coordination in animal, but I want to change the order. First we want to discuss about control and coordination in plants. That is our first target. Understand? Now, as I told you, in plants, there is particularly no nervous system like us, no nerve cells, no fibers. Then also plant can easily control and communicate. The communication occurs between the cells of the plant even in the absence of nervous system. That happens due to particular type of chemicals present in the plant, which we may call plant hormones or phytohormones. Understand? There are various hormones, and plants show various type of movement, as you know, and that all movement of plants are controlled and coordinated. Plants show some growth related movement. At the same time, plant also show some movement which are independent of growth. Question might arise in your mind, which are growth related movement and which are some movement which are independent of growth. Take an example. When you sow seeds, understand, the seedling sprouts and root grows, as well as the stem comes out and grow vertically upward, then the branch grows, leaves. All these are can be considered a growth related movement, where you can see that the small plant is growing, it increases in the height and size, means the girth also increases, branches also increases, number of leaves also increases. Understand? That is a growth related movement. But some movements shown by plant, understand, are not growth related. But this movement no doubt are independent of growth, but actually they are respond to external stimuli, to external factor. External stimuli means you all know very well. Understand external factors? External factors. I can write the word external stimuli. If somebody asks you, we are discussing the topic in plant, if somebody asks you, do we respond to external stimuli? Definitely. Understand? Take an example. You are going on the road, and if sudden downpour, rainfall occur, you try to hide yourself somewhere. What is that? That is respond to external stimuli. Understand? Take an example. In summer, hot summer, you go at home and start drinking cold water. What is that? Respond to the external stimuli, external heat. At the same time, when winter comes, what you do? You respond to the external stimuli. In cold, you start wearing sweaters. Understand? Why? To keep your body heat. So that is what? That is respond to external stimuli. You also respond to light, heat. Means we respond to every factor. Take an example. You are sitting in the classroom and somebody pinch you. Understand? So you immediately respond. Understand? Because you at the same time immediately respond to that pinch. So like we respond to every factors, every external stimuli, because we have got a very highly complex and complicated network of nerve fibers, a brain and nervous system. But plant also respond to all external stimuli. Which are the external stimuli which may affect the plant? Understand? So just let us mention. some external stimuli which also understand play a role in case of plants. Suppose do plant respond to light? Yes, why not? Plant definitely respond to light, one of the most important factor. Do plant respond to gravitation force? Why not? Plant also respond to gravitation force. Do plant respond to groundwater? Yes, plant also respond to water. Do plant respond to chemicals? Yes, plants also respond to chemicals also. Do plant respond to touch also? Yes, why not? Plant also respond to touch. So many external factor, understand, to which plant respond. Understand, plant respond to light, okay. Plant respond to gravitation force. Plant respond to water. Plant respond to chemical. Plant respond to touch only. Undoubtedly, plant do not have a complicated nervous system like us, but it communicates via the chemical messengers which we may call phytohormones or plant hormone. Understand? Plant respond to each and every factor: light, gravitation force, water, chemicals. Understand? And all this movement, either the moment respond to light, moment respond to gravitation force, movement of plant respond to water, movement of plant respond to chemical, all can be termed by one particular word. Understand, that can be called tropism. Understand, one particular word which can be utilized, tropism. Understand, when plant respond to touch, we call it nastic movement. Understand, no doubt that is also one type of respond to touch. Understand? So, let us try to understand, do plant, how plant respond to, all are coming under the one title, that is tropism. Do plant respond to light? Definitely. Just for one simple example, you have somewhere in primary standard must have studied that there are two type of plants, long duration and short duration plant. Understand, some plant prefer more light to grow and some plant prefer less light to grow. Understand, when the days are shorter in winter, some plants grow in winter. Understand, because they require less duration of light, they are shorter in winter. Understand, so they are called short duration plant, respond to light. And some plant grow during the long duration of light, we call it long duration of plant, which grow mostly in summer. Understand, so plant definitely respond to light. And you all know, understand, that some plant grow in moderate light, some plant grow in less light. We are also keeping some decorative type of orchids in our home where no sunlight reaches, then also they grow. Understand, so plant respond to light definitely, and if plant do not receive light, they try to grow in the direction of light. Just in textbook they have given one experiment, you can do at home also. Suppose one box is there, we are just trying to understand this movement towards us. Suppose in box, understand, you have taken in this box, take an example, one plant which is already growing. Suppose this is pot and some, this is soil we sow, and suppose plant is here. Understood? Few branches we draw. Okay. Suppose you keep some already grown plant in a dark room in a box. Understand? And you just make some hole here so that you have to ensure that sunlight, understand, is falling on this box, but it will reach to the plant only via this small hole. So actually what happens? Plant no doubt requires sunlight definitely. So what actually happens? Okay, this plant will bend its curvature and grow towards the sunlight this way. Understand? So what is that? Actually it is response to light. Understand? Plant grow its curvature means plant bends its stem in the direction in which the sunlight is available. So that is response to actually sunlight, which is actually known as phototropism. What you can say? Phototropism. If somebody asks you, define phototropism, what you will write? That plant grows or plant bend its curvature in the direction of the sunlight, means in the direction of the light, it bends its curvature of the stem. Understand? So that is known as phototropism. Do plant respond to a gravitation force also? Definitely. Here, my dear student, one more thing I also want to mention in phototropism. Two type of phototropism you can say. One is negative phototropism and one is positive phototropism. Just take an example. Suppose this is soil. Okay. Some seedling you have sown here. When it sprouts, its actively growing region are two, stem and root. So you will see that the stem grows and it comes out vertically upward, as you know. The growth of the stem occurs vertically upward, okay? Right? And growth of the root occurs vertically downward, as you know. This is the growth of the stem and this is the growth of the root. So actually what happened? The growth of the stem occurs in the direction of sunlight. So you can call that stem possess here positive phototropism, and root grows against the direction of sunlight. Understand? So it can be called as negative phototropism. So stem always show positive phototropism and root always show negative phototropism. Understand? Now, next factor, that is gravitation force. Do plant respond to gravitation also? Yes. Plant respond to gravitation force also, definitely. Understand? And you all know very well. Let us just try to understand it. Suppose, just take an example. Suppose, let us draw soil first. Just try to understand. Suppose soil. Okay? And when you have sown the seed at some depth, and when it sprouts, and when the growth of the plant start occurring, what you will see? You will see after sprouting, understand, the stem of the plant grows in the direction, this is stem growing in the direction opposite to gravitation force. You understood this? and root of the plant, understand, roots show movement towards the gravitation force. See, roots are actually moving towards the gravitation force and the stem are moving against the gravitation force. So the movement means the growth of the stem is against the gravitation force. So you can say that stem is showing what? The stem is actually showing positive, negative geotropism. This response to gravitation force is called geotropism because stem is growing against the direction of the gravitation force, because we all know that the gravitation force is working, understand, vertically downward. So stem grows vertically upward. So that is called, you can term it that the stem shows negative geotropism and the root shows positive geotropism. You understood this? This can be asked geotropism. Okay, geotropism you can be asked in exam related to this. Which part of the plant show negative geotropism? Which part of the plant show positive geotropism? So you are given objectives. So you all know that stem, actually the stem and root are actually the most actively growing region of the plant in the start, understand? The stem shows negative geotropism and root shows positive geotropism because root grows in the direction of gravitation force, understand, and stem grows in the direction against the gravitation force. So stem shows negative geotropism and root shows positive geotropism. Ultimately, geotropism is clear in your mind, understand? Geotropism means, if somebody asks you, define geotropism, so how will you define it? Respond to gravitation force by plant is known as geotropism. It can be positive or negative, depends on the growth of the part of the plant that you know. But simply defining geotropism means response to gravitation force. Okay, so this is clear. Now, we studied about plant respond to light, that is phototropism. Understand, respond to light that we understood just now, that is called phototropism. Understood? Then response to gravitation force is known as geotropism. Understand? And now, response to water. Water means hydro. The response to water is known as actually hydrotropism. Understood? Hydrotropism, I just write it here. Response to water is called hydrotropism. And you all know which part of the plant definitely respond to water, so definitely roots. And once the plant grow, root is actually showing two type of growth, you all know. First, so that to fix the plant in the soil, suppose some soil is here, the first growth of the even stem and root is vertically upward and downward. The horizontal growth is always termed as secondary growth, you all know, but primary growth is only in one direction. Stem grows vertically upward and root grows vertically downward. But now, after fixing the plant in the soil. Now it's a duty of the root to find the source of water, which is essential for the growth of plant. So after growing vertically downward just to fix the plant in the soil, root is trying to find the source of groundwater inside, and in whatever direction the groundwater is available, the root develop in that direction. So that is called ultimately respond to water. So that is known as hydrotropism. What is that known as? Hydrotropism. You understood this? How will you define hydrotropism? If somebody asks you, what you will write? Respond to water is known as simply hydrotropism. Understand? Respond to water. And actually root grows, and we all know that the root grows obviously inside the soil in the direction of the groundwater. Wherever the groundwater is available, the root grows in that direction. Understand? So you can say that actually root source hydrotropism. No other parts of the plant are involved in hydrotropism. Only we have to mention about root only. Understand? Now one more thing. Response to chemical. Understand that let us try to understand response to chemical actually. How can you understand this? Response to chemical. Do plant respond to chemical also? So that I will try to explain you by one particular example. You all must be knowing the process of pollination. You all know? Process of pollination. What occurs in the process of pollination? The transfer of pollen grain. You remember from in flower actually the transfer of pollen grain, which is male reproductive cell, to the female reproductive organ. Actually you have termed this as a definition also, the transfer of pollen grain from anther of stamen to stigma of carpel, that is known as pollination. Actually what happens if we just try to draw, understand what happens in actually pollination. Just try to understand. We are actually trying to understand response to chemical. What happens actually? Suppose if we just try to draw a female reproductive organ in plant, you all know, in flower, you must be knowing this, and as somewhere in primary standard you may have drawn it also. Understand? You have, I think, drawn it somewhere else. Let us erase it first. External stimuli, now you all know. The diagram we can do here little bit so that you can understand response to chemical. Okay, let us draw. Just I want to draw the female reproductive organ. You all know. Female reproductive organ, okay. You must have drawn in primary or somewhere in previous standard also. Okay. Now what happens after the pollen grain falls here? Suppose the pollen grain is here. Okay. Pollen grain falls here and ovules are here. These are ovules. This is pollen grain. Okay. and these are ovules. What actually happens now? This is pollen grain. Okay. This is what we have drawn here. A female reproductive organ. Female reproductive organ in plant. Okay. Now pollen grain falls here. These are ovules, as you all know. And fertilization take place only when pollen grain comes in contact with the ovules. That you know how it happens. How pollen grain will come in contact with the ovules, so you all know very well that to come in contact with the ovules, the pollen grain, how can it reach and travel up to this? So you must be knowing a tube-like structure is developed, which, can you remind the name? It is actually known as pollen tube, if you can understand. Pollen tube. If you can remind, pollen tube, such type of structure is created. This is pollen tube. And actually what happens? Traveling in this pollen tube, pollen grain slowly reaches to the ovary. This is actually ovary, you all know. And then it fertilizes the ovule and convert into seed. Understand? So this process, why the pollen tube develops in the direction where the ovules are there, so that is called response to chemicals. We can call it chemotropism. Dear student, try to understand. This can be called chemotropism. Okay? Chemotropism. Understood? Chemotropism respond to chemical, and this way how the fertilization take place. Okay. Now you understood tropism in detail. Tropism means a plant respond to external stimuli like light, gravitation force, water, chemicals, etc. Mostly all are growth related movement. Do plant respond to touch also, which is not a growth related movement? Yes. We all know that plant also respond to touch also, which is sometimes known as nastic movement. Understand? That word hasn't been mentioned in textbook, but you have to understand nastic movement. Response to touch. You must have seen a chui mui plant that is of mimosa family. When you try to touch it leaf, understand the leaf bends. That is response to touch. So how it must be happening? Actually, no doubt the plant is immediately responding to the touch, and immediately the leaf drops, means bends. How it actually is happening? You touch in one part of the leaf, then other part drops. So there must be some chemical communication occurring, and plant is doing some internal activity so that the leaf bend. Actually what happens? Let us try to understand this. Okay? Response to touch. Let us try to understand it. How response to touch actually take place. Just let us try to understand leaf. Okay? Suppose we draw one leaf. Now here, one thing has to be very clear. Suppose this is the midrib. Okay. midrib. Now what happens? Here, actually what is there in the leaf, so that the moment you touch it, understand it bends. So my dear student, you should try to understand this is midrib actually, and this is leaf. This is midrib, which you can say mid vein also. Understand? Now actually what happens? If you actually in mimosa family plant, touch me not plant, just below the upper surface of the leaf, understand, there lies a pulvinous layer, a layer of cell actually, pulvinous layer. Suppose I show some cell like this. This is pulvinous layer. Okay, we are showing here a pulvinous layer. At the same time, let us show here also pulvinous layer. Understand? This is also pulvinous layer, and these are cells. Okay. This is exactly below the surface of the leaf. Understood? And you all know that cells are always full of water. Understood? That you all know. Right? Cells are full of water, that you all know. Now actually what happens? Just try to understand it. Actually what takes place? This is leaf we have drawn. Understand? Now there is a pulvinous layer, no doubt. Okay, and this layer is called pulvinous layer actually. Understood? Pulvinous layer. Now what happens? Try to understand. In both the half, the cells are full of water, they are turgid. Understand? Now what happens? When you try to touch any part of the leaf, suppose I touched here, the plant immediately respond to that touch. The moment you touch here, actually what happened? Just now in both the half, in pulvini layer, the cells are full of water and turgid, swollen, but moment you touch, what happens? In this part, actually flow. Try to understand it. They lose water, understand, and transfer that water to this half. So actually what happens? When they transfer water to this cell, obviously this cell become more swollen, and this cell shrink. Because they shrink, they try to contract, and when they try to contract, it looks like it is bending. Understand? So this is how plant respond to touch, due to this pulvini layer just below the surface, upper surface of the leaf. So that is also response to touch. The plant also respond to touch. Understand? So you must have understood that plant respond to almost all external stimuli. It respond to light, which we call phototropism. It respond to gravitation force, which we call geotropism, through chemical hormones only. It respond to water, which we call hydrotropism. It respond to chemical, which we call chemotropism. plant also respond to touch. That is actually no word is utilized in your textbook, but we can call it a nastic response. Plant also respond to touch also. And how will plant show that respond? By just bending the leaves, by drooping the leaf, which occurs by the action of this Pulvini cell, which when touched will flow the water from one half to another half, so the one half of the leaf shrink. And understood, it remain for some time only. Again, when the water from this half flows here, again the cell in this part becomes swollen and the leaf opens. It look like that the leaf is bending as well as opening. So this simply occurs, understand, by this Pulvini layer. Okay. So plant also respond to touch. The plant respond to almost every type of external stimuli, light, gravitation force, water, chemical, touch, everything. Understood? Now, there are some plant hormones. As I told you, phytohormones in plant are responsible for the growth and development of the plant. Understand? To mention name of some hormone, auxin. The auxin is actually a growth promoter hormone in the plant. In the starting stage of the plant, when the seed sprout, understand, the seedling take place, understand, and the start growing of root and stem start, at that time one of the main hormone present in the plant is auxin hormone. And we can sometimes utilize the word auxin is the hormone present at the initial growth of the plant. Then there are some hormone also like cytokinin hormone, which actually promote the cell division in plant. At the same time, another hormone, gibberellin, that hormone also actually promote the cell division, where actively growing part, like suppose take an example, fruit, seeds, flower, etc. So that hormone also help in it. Ultimately, I can say that auxin, gibberellin, cytokinin are all plant hormone which are actually can be called a growth promoter hormone. So at the same time, there is one hormone also, like in our also you all know, after some age the growth stops. Suppose you just think that you continuously grow throughout your life, तो when you become 70-year-old, तो तुम्हारी height क्या जाए, क्या तुम्हारो body है? It is not happening. Growth is also occurring in limited fashion, understand, in limited controlled manner. So in plant also, growth has to be controlled. So that growth in plant can be controlled by another hormone that is known as abscisic acid. No doubt we have sent you material and everything is mentioned in that. So abscisic acid can be called a growth inhibitor, not growth promoter. Growth promoter are three phytohormones, which are those auxins, gibberellin, cytokinin, which are actually growth inhibitor hormone. So abscisic acid. Abscisic acid is also responsible, not only it is growth inhibitor hormone, but it is also responsible for wilting of leaves. Understand? When leaves dry out and fall, so that is called wilting of leaves. In that, this hormone, abscisic acid, play a very important role. You understood this? So this way, plant, though it do not have like complicated nervous system like it, but it respond to every external factors. Understand? That we studied in detail. There is no mention, there just mentioned that plant respond to touch by drooping leaves, but how it droops, So that we just explained you, this pulvini layer is responsible for the drooping or bending of the leaves when it is touched. Understand? So, and in that also, this is one type of chemical communication. You can understand it very easily. How? You are not touching the whole leaf. You are touching just here. Then also the chemical communication occurs to each and every cell, and every cell try to drain water to the neighboring cell. Okay. So, plant communicate by chemical hormones, which we call chemical messenger or phytohormones only. This is how the control and coordination take place in plants. You understood this? Okay. Now, so in this particular chapter, actually we change the order. Understand, the chapter is divided into two type of subject. First, that is control and coordination in plant, then control and coordination in animals. So in next lecture we will study about control and coordination in animals. Understand, just in today's lecture we studied about control and coordination in plants. You understood this? So today's topic, not control and coordination in animal, but we studied about how control and coordination take place in plants. Understood? So some of the word like nastic movement hasn't been mentioned in your textbook, but we explained you. Okay? So this is clear. Control and coordination in plants. Lecture number 1 today in chapter 7, control and coordination. Understood? So before we end today's lecture, you are already sent homework through PDF, and we receive homework in good writing, good diagram also students are trying to draw. Understand, at least attend the lecture quite sincerely with alert mind. Okay, so we will be able to communicate to you the content quite properly. Understood? For today's lecture, thank you very much from Bharat sir.